Welcome to the Friends of Zane Adams, aka FOZA podcast, bringing awareness of postpartum depression, suicides, and the children who are left behind. We'll be spotlighting positive outcomes from mothers as well as healthcare experts and counselors. Would you know the signs of PPD? Would you know how to help a loved one? Stay tuned. As a community, we can do more to support maternal mental wellness.
Greetings, everyone. This is Paulette Smith with Friends of Zane Adams, aka FOZA Inc. We are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to bringing awareness and resources to support sufferers of postpartum depression, to prevent maternal suicides, and to support the children who are left behind. We strive to stop the stigma, the silence, the suicides, and the suffering that often accompanies maternal mental health issues. Now, before I begin, I need to say a few words about triggers. This is a safe place. However, we may discuss topics that can be sensitive and may act as a trigger for some of our members or members of our audience. The content we discuss serves to provide information for educational and advocacy purposes only. If you are experiencing an emergency, call the National Crisis Hotline, 800-273-8255. If you cannot afford consultation, please visit FOZAinc.org and provide us your contact information. Here at FOZA, we listen closely to postpartum moms and the questions they ask, and we listen equally to the experts who speak about solutions and resources. We also know that separating myth from fact is one of the most important activities we can engage in, and that's why today is so special. We have with us J.Robert Parker, owner of Twin Ravens Hypnotherapy and Research Center in Mount Ida, Arkansas. He is a highly experienced and educated hypnotherapist and corporate lecturer. Now, Jay's mission and that of Twin Raven is to provide a light for those who cannot see, a guide for those who have lost the way, and peace for those who have forgotten. Jay brings us evidence-based solutions and resources to answer your questions, and working together with your primary care providers can bring you to a better place of health. Personally, for me, after years of being familiar with but not truly understanding the term hypnotherapy, I was enlightened to the great potential in reducing stress, the effect of trauma, the anxiety, and I could clarify some false information or misunderstandings that I'd had about hypnosis and spirituality. Most importantly, I became aware of the benefits that can be enjoyed during the postpartum period in life and beyond. That's why I'm so very excited to have him here with us today. So right now, let me say, welcome, J.Robert Parker.
Hello, Jay. How are you doing?
I am wonderful today. Thank you very much for having me on.
Great. You sound wonderful, and it is so good to have you here with us. I know that this is a deep subject, so I want the audience to get the benefit of every second you have to offer them. So why don't we get right into you telling the audience more about yourself, Twin Ravens, and hypnotherapy, and how you feel it can offer postpartum moms some relief.
Absolutely. Well, to properly introduce myself, my name is J.Robert Parker. I am a union-certified master hypnotist and owner of Twin Ravens Hypnotherapy and Research, LLC. As to what hypnotherapy is, everything about us, the way we think, the way we act, the way we react, is our subconscious associations. To put it quite simply, the reason you don't touch a hot stove is because you have the associations that heat and fire are painful and cause injury. It seems like something so basic, but that's an association. And sometimes these associations don't work the best for us. Sometimes we have positive associations around behaviors that have negative consequences. To directly answer how this could possibly help women who are suffering from postpartum depression, as I said before, everything is association. And my job is to use the natural state of hypnosis to alter those associations into a more positive direction with your thoughts and behaviors. And postpartum depression is these intrusive thoughts, these behaviors and notions that people know are not their own and really know consciously that they shouldn't really be feeling this way, but yet don't know why and don't know how to stop it. And generally when it's like that, be it postpartum depression or losing weight or stopping smoking, when you consciously want to try to act a different way or feel a different way and cannot, it's because that is not a conscious thing. That is a subconscious association working against you. And through hypnotherapy, through the reinforcement of positive associations and the guiding away of negative ones, of the introduction of healthy habits, which are nothing but the physical manifestation of associations, help in increasing your mental state and your general well-being.
Okay, that is really so interesting, because that's, you know, we've spoken before, and every time I learn so much. You say the things that are familiar, and then you say things that just blow my mind with honesty and with realism, and the associations. That is something that comes to me, that feeling, that word every day, Jay, because, you know, the threads that I get notifications from are from postpartum groups, fathers connected to, and some moms, they do have those negative associations. They start out feeling their babies are causing the trauma in their life. Then they swing from that extreme to thinking they're a bad mom, to other extreme of thinking they are bad people and that they are undeserving, and it goes on. And I've heard you say that hypnotherapy can help women see through that past trauma, which you just reinforced, and help them understand they themselves have a way to control the negative energy. Is that right?
Absolutely. Everything about the way we perceive reality is this subconscious thing. And your subconscious is a very strange thing. For example, your subconscious cannot tell the difference between reality and fiction. We've all watched a movie or read a book that it elicits an emotional reaction from us. We feel happy, sad, angry, whatever have you, even though we consciously know for a fact that what we're watching is a lie. It's fake. It's fiction. Yet, why do we feel those things? It's because of our subconscious. It's because our subconscious is unable to tell fact from fiction. And oftentimes, with things like depression, it's that inability to see past the fiction, that you have created this false perception, like with postpartum, that you're a bad mother or it's the child's fault. This is an attempted subconscious association, and like you consciously know that this isn't right, but this is just your subconscious attempting to reason through this thing. And one of the things I stress is in hypnotherapy, there is a learning that happens. And what that learning is it's learning about your mind, about how it actually works, about what affects it positively and negatively, about what the idea of a subconscious influence is, what the idea of being suggestible to influence is. And in learning all of these things, and quite literally learning the rules of the game, you better learn how to live within it and how to process it, because how can you play a game if you don't know the rules or if there's a game being played at all?
Right. Learning is a big thing. And Jay, I know about your sessions because I go to your website, and of course, I learn from that. I learn from your sessions, and I know that you provide one-to-one sessions and group sessions. But I'm also learning from you that hypnotherapy can be a great path to self-care, which is really important because during postpartum periods, some moms feel isolated. They're not happy with their bodies. They generally feel separated from what they call, quote, unquote, their normal life. And I've heard you explain how hypnotherapy can ease some of those anxieties.
Well, you said the magic word, and that's normal. So in hypnosis, or it's beyond hypnosis, it's more than that, but there's something called homeostasis, which is the fancy word for normal. And what that means is that is what your subconscious mind perceives as your normal, like what is supposed to happen, what is within the bounds of your normal reality. And this is the reason for success. This is the reason for happiness. This is also the reason people stay in abusive relationships. This is also the reason that people stay addicted to substances. This is the reason that people stay depressed, is because until such time as you raise what you know you deserve, then you are stuck in this reality. Because we can all remember a time where our situation in life became intolerable, that we no longer wish to live that way. And the way that we got out of that situation is we raised our sense of normal, what normal should be, what we deserve, what we're worthy of. And when that perception changed, when that homeostasis was elevated, that's when that situation became intolerable. It wasn't a question anymore. It was, this is not me. This is not my situation.
Yeah.
And that same thinking can also work in the opposite. If you do not attempt to change it, but still try to improve, your homeostasis, your sense of normal, will drag you back down. The question I ask a lot of my clients when faced with things like this is, if tomorrow I gave you everything you've ever wanted, would you rise to that occasion, or would you try to drag it down to you and wonder why it didn't work to improve your life? That's something that's important to consider.
I see that in so many ways in life, not just during the postpartum period, but in business and
Absolutely.
in many, many stages of life. And we just need to tap into ourselves. You know, Jay, some of the postpartum moms that we support, they send in questions. For one thing, I like to think if there are any moms on, any caregivers, I like to thank the ones that say something. There are a lot of organizations out there have a lot of great sayings. They have sayings like, when you're feeling low, speak up, or when you're feeling down, speak up. And so we couldn't get this information out in such a way and meet people like you and get this kind of support unless the women, men, children, family members, spouses, partners were brave enough to say, something is not right here, and to ask questions. So when sometimes I get questions that I can't answer, but I've asked you and you've given the clarity that I've needed, and I'm sure it will help other people. And one of them is about the resistance between spirituality, faith, and hypnotherapy, and those surrounding facts. And as a matter of fact, I've had moms and dads, different people tell me that they're opposed because they don't really understand it and they don't know how they work together. But you've explained to me that spirituality, faith, and hypnotherapy work together for good. Could you talk a little bit about how that works?
FOZA, aka Friends of Zane Adams, is dedicated to providing education, information, and resources to bring more awareness to maternal mental wellness, stop the suicides, and support the children who are left behind. Research shows 1 in 7 postpartum moms experience some form of depression that not only diminishes quality of life, but if left untreated, can lead to the 1 to 2% experiencing postpartum psychosis, which is an even more serious condition. To find out how you can help FOZA stop the stigma, the suicides, the silence, and the suffering caused by postpartum depression and related maternal mental health issues, please visit FOZAinc.org, FOZAinc.org today, or call 866-FOZA-INC. Remember, there's a role for everyone in the community who wants to help. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, I've had moms and dads, different people tell me that they're opposed because they don't really understand it and they don't know how they work together. But you've explained to me that spirituality, faith, and hypnotherapy work together for good. Could you talk a little bit about how that works?
Absolutely. Well, in that, the first thing that needs to be emphasized, if anyone has this worry, is that hypnotherapy or hypnosis, trance, what can be scientifically defined as the elevated theta brainwave pattern, is a natural state. You are in hypnosis twice a day, at least, and it's 30 minutes before you go to bed and 30 minutes after you wake up. That whenever you first come into consciousness, that when you're still in bed and you're really comfortable and your thoughts just kind of float and drift and everything kind of clicks together, often when we do our morning affirmations or prayers, there's that peacefulness to it. That's hypnosis. That's trance.
Wow.
So this connection that you feel in that moment, that's what we're working with. That this in no way opposes spirituality. If anything, it encourages it, because the one thing that resists spirituality is the conscious mind, because spirituality doesn't work on logic, which is the conscious mind. What it does work with is the realm of the subconscious. So it is very common for hypnosis, especially deep hypnosis, to be a deeply spiritual thing, because it is in those moments that you are able to connect with something indefinable, with something different than what you're used to. Because when you're in hypnosis, as you know, when you are laying there awake, when first thing in the morning, you're conscious. You are aware of your thoughts and your surroundings. It is simply that surrender to the relaxation in the mental process. And that really is all hypnosis is. It's not anything, it's not witchcraft. It's not anything metaphysical. This is science. This is pure and simple. This is a science that goes somewhere very interesting, because while I can do reproducible things, I have reproducible results, I cannot with any clarity answer what it is exactly that the subconscious even is. We don't understand that. We don't know consciousness. So there is in that something much deeper to the state of hypnosis, that because hypnosis and trance are what you make the experience and what the hypnotherapist can help guide the experience to be, it is capable of being a deeply, deeply spiritually connecting thing.
Wow, I hope you know how informative that is, and I hope my listeners think on that and come back and listen to this again and get familiar with what you're saying. What I'm getting is the stronger my belief, the more beneficial a hypnosis could be for me. Absolutely. If I was stressing and anxious and mad at everybody. And the thing about it is that people laugh at postpartum moms, but these are the things they feel. They feel anger, anxiety. They feel disconnected. They feel separated. This is what I know because this is what comes to me daily, in mail. It just
that goes back to the normal. Because think about it. With these mothers, their life overnight changes. Their normal, their homeostasis has to change. There's no other choice. So there is this struggle that your subconscious tells you that your homeostasis, your normal, is still childless. It's still you as a solitary being, but then you have your reality, which is this living, breathing creature.
And sleepless nights.
Exactly. And sleepless nights. That doesn't help. And that's another thing that hypnosis and hypnotherapy are very important for. It's not to say that it is a replacement for sleep. It is not. It's not even a substitute. But it is excellent for the clarity that sleeplessness does not allow for. Because that's oftentimes why things are so overwhelming when we're tired. We just can't process. Like, we don't have that moment that make everything slow down to be able to properly process and take inventory of everything. And what I do as a hypnotherapist is I take that inventory and then I slow everything down. And then we go through without the tension and all of the mental signals and feelings, negative feelings. We go into this relaxed, positive state, and I, with this inventory of what is bothering you, address that subconsciously. And it's in that relaxed state, that same state that we drift in the morning, that the subconscious accepts this. And sometimes the way I do this is stories, metaphor, because like I said, the subconscious does not know the difference between fact and fiction. And I've told people fairy tales in hypnosis before because of the message that was implied in that fairy tale is important to the subconscious. If there is a Bible verse that speaks specifically about, metaphorically, what your problem is, I will absolutely seek that out and use that if that client is Christian, of that bent, because that is their belief in the language of their subconscious. So to speak that metaphor and that lesson directly to their subconscious, there's a different acceptance than there would be consciously. Yeah.
Comfort. Well, Jay, I want to speak a little bit about what we thought was going to be gone by now, or better by now, or different by now, but it's affected so many people's mental health, and it has just brought about irrevocable changes to our lives. And of course, that's the pandemic. And absolutely. That has made everything so different because moms go through this period where life is supposed to be wonderful and supposed to be good and supposed to be great. And when you're having a child, of course, that is the absolute brightest, most wonderful time in your life. Not sometimes just doesn't work out that way. And then on top of that, isolation and feeling alone, separated, and especially in small communities or in out-of-the-way communities, not even being able to communicate with people you could communicate. And I also want to touch on military moms right now. Everyone feels as if military moms get everything. They don't need anything. They are taken care of medically. Every we're an Air Force family, so I know what resources are available. They are huge, huge resources. The thing about it is when you are a mom or expecting to be a mom or just became a mom and you were separated due to a transfer or a move away from maybe the family that you've never been away from, maybe the country that you've never been away from, can be traumatic all by itself without having postpartum depression dip its little self in there. And with the pandemic in playing a part in that as well, I just want you to speak just one more time about the benefits that you know can come from hypnosis.
Well, first of all, in an interesting way, all of those things, while they seem so different, are all talking about basically the same thing, which is isolation. There's oftentimes a lot of feelings of isolation with postpartum. There is the literal isolation that comes with there being a pandemic. And with military moms, there is this isolation because there's this assumption that you are so well taken care of that you don't need anything, when it's not true. You need things that the benefits don't necessarily provide. And that's an understanding in a way to process your emotions, because our emotions are difficult. And I do see a lot of clients relate with COVID-related trauma, be it they lost a loved one or just the stress of living in this world gets to them. And even if your kids are more grown, it's still a very stressful time. I have twins. It's part of the reason for the name of my business. Yeah. And they're 6 now, and they're growing up in this world. And it's an interesting thing to me that I think about very often, because I don't know, will it be hard for them because this is the world they come up in? Like, hopefully it'll be done, but
I think it'll be a little bit easier for them because Daddy has a good grip on how to communicate with them. I think they're going very fortunate little twins. But I wanted to
an awesome mom too, so if that helps.
I wanted to speak with you a little bit about something that is just close to my heart once you described your practice to me and the way that FOZA works. Friends of Zane Adams, is that we want, once we find a resource, we want to make sure that our resource and our clients can get, together, and you offer that opportunity in a consultation. But you also said you have your one-to-one clients, and you will communicate and collaborate whenever you can with the client, with their primary care physician, and because you want the mom to know that everyone's on board, on the same page to bring her to a good place. And I don't often hear holistic practitioners or therapists or clinicians really come out, and say, well, I've got a plan for that.
Yes, the medical referrals, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's absolutely a thing. If it is for anything, not just postpartum depression, if we're talking PTSD, clinical depression, pain, all of these things are something that I communicate with your doctor, and there is a medical or psych referral form that you get filled out and returned to me, and that's part of your paperwork, so that your doctor knows what you're doing. And that's kind of double beneficial because we get the clearance from your doctor, and it's such time that you go to your doctor and he asks you how you're feeling, and you say, oh, I've been seeing that hypnotherapist. I feel fantastic.
That's what we want to hear.
You some business cards.
That's what we want to hear. I feel fantastic. Look, Jay, you've given us so much to think about today, and most of all, I hope your message came through clearly to our listeners that you are sincerely invested in helping people reach a peaceful place in their lives with less anxiety, and stress. And even though we've come to the end of our time here today, I hope we made you feel welcome to return and give us some more enlightenment in a future session, okay? But until then, I want you to please tell everyone how to connect with you.
Absolutely. The easiest way, if you wanted to get a hold of me, is through my website. It's www.twinravens.org. We have contact forms. We have links to all our different social media. You can email me directly through that, or through this. My email is jrobertparker@protonmail.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Twin Ravens Hypno. So any of those. And if you need a consultation, I need to mention that's free. I work remotely, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world. We can work together. So just let me know. Reach out.
Wonderful. And once again, we've been chatting with J.Robert Parker, owner of Twin Ravens Hypnotherapy and Research Center. And you know why it's called Twin Ravens, in Mount Ida, Arkansas. However, as he told you, he is totally accessible for online consultations. So schedule yours today at twinravens.org. That's TWINRAVENS.org. Well, Father fans, that's it for this episode. I want to thank you on behalf of our donors, sponsors, our supporters, everyone for tuning into the FOZA podcast for maternal mental wellness. And special thanks to Add Voices Digital Productions for producing this episode. I hope you gained some knowledge today that you can use in the self-care you so richly deserve. And if you're a family member or a caregiver, we appreciate you. You know, FOZA is proud to bring you all kinds of information to help stop the stigma, the silence, the suicide, and the suffering that often accompanies maternal mental health issues. So please visit our website, FOZAinc.org, that's FOZAINC.org, for an on-demand version of this podcast, and consider sharing it within your entire circle. And while you're there, please make a donation. Click on the link for Give to FOZA, Lift the Spirit. Every donation goes towards bringing awareness to maternal mental health. Once again, this is Paulette Smith signing off in loving memory of Christina LaShawn Thompson-Adams. Bye-bye now.